Business case development. You gotta make a case to management. Management doesn't want to spend money unnecessarily. They gotta know that this makes sense. So bring the reference information, the background information, applicable laws in, bring in what the industry as a whole is doing, what's expected. Because remember, if other companies are doing more than what you're doing, if it goes to court, someone's going to say, did you do what's reasonable and expected? And you're going to say, of course we did. And opposition is going to say, no, everyone else is doing this and this. You didn't go to that level. You're negligent. So you got to know what others are doing. A description of the actual problem, the issue you're dealing with. Metrics showing that you're not compliant, or you are compliant, but maybe not compliant enough, or not where you intend to be as an organization. Description of risk tolerance. How much risk are you willing to take? If you're willing to lose $1,000 a day on something, that's fine. If you're not willing to lose it, maybe you need to mitigate some of those risks. Not all risks are worth mitigating. You're not going to bring risk down to zero. That's impossible. It's not feasible, and if somehow you could, it'd be ridiculously expensive. You bring it down to a manageable level. That means some things are still going to be problematic, but they should be reasonable. To find out what you're willing to tolerate, bring it down to that level. Specifications for expected outcomes. After you implement goals, after you put things in, you put in things for mitigation, those safeguards, those countermeasures, after you assign things out to others, what's your expected result? What's going to be your residual risk? Is it acceptable? List the required resources and constraints. What people you need. Maybe you're implementing a new software package. It's going to be done in Java. Do you have any Java developers? You got a bunch of old COBOL programmers. Well, it's not the same language. Maybe you need a web interface. These old COBOL guys think a web is something a spider weaves, not something that uses HTML. You got to have the right resources. Maybe you contracted, maybe you train your people, maybe you already have it. You may have the resources, but they may not be available. What constraints do you have? Do you have the budget? Some of these resources are expensive, and we got budget as the next item here. Do you have the money? Can you do it in a fiscally sound manner? And finally, details of the required commitments. You got to have people for this project. Is management going to commit to bringing them in, making them available, commit to budget for this project, commit to making sure everything gets done? Or are you going to get halfway through and find out you're out of money? Halfway through and find out the person you really needed is actually needed somewhere else even more, so you're not going to have them, so you're going to be left stranded. You got to have commitment from management to back you, support you, and see it through.